After 25 years of constant development, the Deep Sea Industrial Zones cluster has proved to be one of the most successful models of its kind in the country. After 25 years of constant development, the Deep Sea Industrial Zones cluster has proved to be one of the most successful models of its kind in the country, contributing to the socioeconomic development of the northern city of Haiphong and playing a compelling role in the Hanoi, Haiphong, Quang Ninh economic triangle in northern Vietnam. With a storied history and vast competitive advantages, the project is now pivoting to a more sustainable future. The cluster debuted with the Dinh Vu Industrial Zone development project in Haiphong in 1997. Based on worldwide experience in IZ development, Filip Martens, founder of Dinh Vu Industrial Zone, shared an ambitious vision with Haiphong to turn the marshy and deserted area into a dynamic multi-functioning industrial center. This vision came true, and now Deep Sea is an industrial and logistics powerhouse of northern Vietnam. Dinh Vu Industrial Zone was a cooperative joint venture project between Haiphong People's Committee and Belgian shareholders, initially covering 116 hectares. Over time it grew to more than 3.400 hectares of industrial land for lease, forming the cluster of 5 industrial zones integrated with liquid cargo terminals. The cluster comprises 3 industrial zones, Deep Sea Haiphong 1, 2, 3, with a total area of more than 1.700 hectares based in Haiphong and 2 others in the nearby province of Quang Ninh. Major benefits. Transport infrastructure is one of the Belgian, managed industrial zone's most significant competitive advantages. Thanks to its central location in a multimodal transport network with deep-water seaports, international airports, and highways, businesses can easily connect with the rest of the world. The new Haiphong, Ha Long, Van Don, Mong Kai Expressway will significantly reduce the time it takes to transport goods from Haiphong to southern China and vice versa, together with Lach Huyen Deep Seaport. The sellable land area under the management of the cluster represents approximately 20% of the total available industrial land of the north, said Bruno Jaspart, general director of the complex. However, currently, we only have 1.840 hectares of land available for rent, yet the rent demand has increased rapidly to 2.000 hectares. Despite the pandemic, our investment portfolio doubled in 2020 and 2021 and will witness speedy growth by the end of this year. This means Deep Sea needs to expand faster by launching a new IZ that can accommodate more investors, he said. The IZ cluster provides products and services, including industrial land and ready-built factories and warehouses for lease, port development and operation, utility supply and distribution, and renewable energy production. Large investors do not simply look for a Vietnamese full package IZ location for their project but a full package IZ to help them focus on developing their business with long-term output in manufacturing. EU and US companies also want to cooperate with IZ management boards that share similar standards, such as standards on IZ management, labor safety, and sustainable development. As a Belgian, managed IZ, the standards applied at the cluster meet the requirements of demanding investors. As a result, the zones have attracted more than 140 investors with a total investment value surpassing $5 billion, creating more than 30,000 jobs for workers in Haiphong and neighboring localities. The goal of Deep Sea Industrial Zones is not only to attract investment but also to build a business community that shares common sustainable development values through the development of an eco-IZ model. Going forward, we will continue to focus on renewable energy projects, develop industrial symbiosis opportunities in our industrial zones, and recycling solutions to bring environmental, economic, and social benefits, said Cohen Sonens, Deep Sea General Sales and Marketing Director. Director of Haiphong Economic Zones Management Authority Le Trung Kien said, "The cluster has become a prestigious brand name of industrial zones in the north of Vietnam, with active contribution to spurring Haiphong FDI growth. Hopefully, Deep Sea continues developing the IZ complex into a component that is leading in driving municipal economic development based on high-tech industry, seaport logistics, trade, and tourism." Sustainable development. The IZ project has teamed up with US-backed Dow chemical company Vietnam on a project building recycled plastic internal roads at deep-sea industrial zones. The pilot 1.200 meters road project made from recycled plastic started construction in September 2019. The road section from plastic scrap is adjacent to a common road built using conventional asphalt techniques to control the quality of the work. The project aims to promote Vietnam's circular economy and seek an output market for plastic waste. By 2020, the first rooftop solar panel on the 20,000 square meters factory was put into operation with a capacity of 3 MWp, helping to attract other companies to sublease the roofs of their factories. The company's rooftop solar panel installed capacity is expected to exceed 20 MWp by 2023. Each 1 MWp solar project in deep sea saves more than 42,000 mature trees and reduces over 1,000 tons of CO2 emissions yearly. The cluster intends to achieve 120 MWp solar capacity by 2030. By the end of 2021, a wind turbine with a height reaching 100 meters and a longer propeller than the original version to optimize wind power was delivered into service, supplying 2-3 MW of electricity directly to the deep-sea internal grid. The $10 million turbine not only brings green energy but also changes the landscape and is one of the first IZs to use renewable energy from wind for industrial production. By 2030, the cluster will be self-sufficient in power demands, using renewable energy, and from there, study new technologies towards reaching the future of total power self-sufficiency. The company also aims to develop a professional power company that operates and supplies renewable energy, including wind power, solar power, biomass power, and liquefied natural gas. In 2021, Deep Sea was one of the first 5 IZs selected by the Ministry of Planning and Investment and the United Nations Industrial Development Organization to pilot the transformation to an eco-IZ model using the circular economy. This makes it easier for the projects to attract socially responsible investors. The group has embraced developing a green IZ encompassing clean energy facilities, clean water production with green energy, international standard waste collection and treatment, and research on water treatment by wind power in Cat High Island to provide clean water for 4,000 households on the island. Deep Sea's sustainable development strategy is also demonstrated in a plan to conserve mangroves, attaching industrial development to nature conservation. During the seaport development process at Deep Sea Quang Ninh, the mangroves have been preserved to replace green trees and recreational areas, creating buffer forests and reducing the need for sea dike design. In addition, Deep Sea Farm is a social non-profit with a sustainable twist. The initiative aims to provide organic fruit, vegetables, chicken, or fish to employees at the cluster. Developed on 3.5 hectares in Haiphong suburbs, the project funded by Deep Sea entities encompasses a production farm and training center and collaborates with agriculture experts, scientists, local farmers, and the local authorities. The farm is the flagship of Industrial Zone's sustainable development strategy and aims to become organic and fair trade certified. The cluster has also established an in-house nursery and a wetland green zone in Haiphong to preserve local fauna and flora. Considering sustainable development as its linchpin strategy, Deep Sea aims to realize corporate social responsibility for the cluster and all operating businesses based in the IZ.